Hi, in this video I'm going to talk to you about climbing Mount Fuji at night and in the rain, which is what we did on September 7th to 8th, 2015. Here we are at the Station 5 gift store, and as you can see we have all our waterproof equipment. If you forgot anything, you can always buy it at this store and another store right beside it. On the first leg of the climb up to Station 6, it's not too cold yet, and while we were climbing, it wasn't even raining. So we had found that we had overdressed, and halfway there to Station 6, we had to delayer so that we wouldn't overheat. So what we were doing here is actually a bullet climb, and that just means that we weren't preparing to rest at all in the climb. We were just going to go to the summit and back down in one trip. Most people actually book a hut, but we didn't. This is Station 6. It was relatively easy to get to. So once you get to Station 6, don't start celebrating yet, thinking that you only have two more legs of the same ease. It gets increasingly harder. And in fact, at each station, 7 and 8, there are multiple points, not just one like in Station 6. So you'll have Station 8A, B, C, D, E, and most of the climb is actually spent from Station 8 onwards to the top. You can see at some points you'll also be on all fours, so a good pair of gloves helps. I was actually quite impressed with the state of the washrooms on the climb, as previous videos had shown them to be disgusting, but it looks like they have renovated all of them all the way up to Station 9, as all the washrooms that we encountered were in pretty good shape. You can see here they look relatively new. There was no smell issue. You can change in there, no problem. So it was a pleasant surprise on our climb up. Here we are taking shelter from the wind. As you approach the summit, the wind increasingly gets stronger and makes things that much colder. We're just taking shelter here for a little bit. And another thing to mention is that make sure you have waterproof everything. I had waterproof pants, a shell, a pack cover, waterproof boots, but the water still made it in. So I highly recommend getting gaiters, maybe a large poncho to just drape over yourself, and make sure your gloves are definitely waterproof. Staying dry will definitely help you enjoy your climb up Mount Fuji. If you don't book a hut, which you definitely should, as a few hours rest will greatly help, well, you can always stay for 20 minutes at a time if you buy like a couple noodle soup or a hot chocolate. They'll let you stay for 20 minutes, but that's definitely not enough. Good hours, a few hours rest is definitely what you want to do. When you finally reach the top, if you haven't followed my advice, then you're probably cold, tired, and wet. And if it's raining, you're not going to get much of a view of a sunrise, so don't be too disappointed. If you notice by the bag of chips that I just showed, the air pressure at the top is less, and the air is harder to breathe. So if you have trouble breathing at high altitudes, I recommend getting an air canister. It'll really help every few minutes or so, and you can just take a deep breath of pure air. The air canister will also help with your climb up, as um, I found that I got really tired and really winded as I was climbing up and was following behind my other two friends who seemed to be okay with the altitude. So to summarize, things that I wish I had done differently was one, pair of gaiters to keep water from seeping into the boots. Two, probably a pair of poles to help climb up, and they also help on the downward descent as well. Three, I wish I'd used a poncho to cover myself completely. Even though I had a pack cover, the water still seeped in. I also wish I had a pair of rugged, waterproof gloves, as I just used my winter gloves and they weren't suited for this sort of climb. And most importantly, I wish we had stopped off at a hut for like 5 hours and just rested, so that it wasn't so tiring. That crucial rest will help when you climb down, as it's quite boring climbing down and there are no huts to rest at. And it will also help with your climb up because you don't have to do it at night. You can do it during the day and then rest, and then during the wee early hours before sunrise you can do the last leg of your trip. So that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you've learned a lot about climbing Mount Fuji. I didn't actually take any video of the descents because it was so boring and there was nothing to see. It was basically going down the same path, zigzagging, maybe 100 times. It was pouring rain when I went down from Mount Fuji, so that made the descent even that much more uh, terrible. It was actually almost a breaking point for me. I didn't know if I would make it because I was so tired, um, and there were no rest stations whatsoever. So if you do get tired on the descent, you're probably there's one point where the descent path comes close to the climbing path, and you can actually maybe take a break in one of the huts or just get a snack to refuel yourself. But definitely staying um, well rested and nourished will help in the descent.